Welcome to the Robby Rowe Show. I am your host, Robby Rowland. You are listening to episode 68 with Dr. Mike Yasson. Let's hear a soundbite from Mike.
Big league guys, they're oh, he's big league. He gets the big league treatment. Oh, he's big leaguer now. He doesn't, he doesn't have to carry the ball bucket anymore. Stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I want to bring the big league treatment to everybody else.
Listening to Clear the Mechanism. The Robby Rowe Show. The Robby Rowe Show.
What up, guys? It's your boy Robby Rowe on the Robby Rowe Show, episode 68. I don't know why I'm using that voice. That was that was hard. Anyways, I'm going to try something new today. I'm going to try to keep this introduction as brief as humanly possible, and by humanly possible, I mean as brief as I am capable of doing, because as you guys know, I love to talk. So I got Dr. Mike on the show, and for those of you guys who do not know Mike or not know anything of what he's about, what he presents, anything like that, be sure to go check his Instagram page out, Big League Perform and Rehab on Instagram. I'll link all of his websites, his Instagram, like all of his social stuff into the show notes, so be sure to go check that out. Really good podcast for you guys today, very informative. In the realm of baseball, physical therapy, just really building a resilient human being in general. I thought the direction of the show was going to be all baseball player related, but I want to say like the majority of the show is really just touching on how to optimize human beings in general, not just baseball players, not just athletes, but human beings as well. I want to take a brief minute or so to talk about a sponsor of the Robby Rowe Show, Massage Guns. If you guys are a everyday or every podcast listener, you guys have heard me talk about Massage Guns a lot. Kind of a new sponsor to the show, but I personally don't take on sponsors unless I thoroughly believe in A, the company, and then B, the product. And this is a really good company and with a really good product. So what Massage Guns is exactly what that is, if that makes sense. It's literally a massage gun. I know there's a couple massage guns out there on the market. Things that I want to talk about that separate massage guns from the rest of the pack is A, price. So the price of a massage gun, I think it's like $300. I can help you out. I can get you a discount. MassageGuns.com. Discount code is Robby, R-O-B-B-Y. I'll link all of this stuff into the show notes, so if you want to go check them out, be sure to do so. Instagram page, Massage Guns, simple as that. I want to talk about B, the efficiency of the percussion. So it's got the most percussions on the market. So it's 45 percussions per second. If you guys don't know what a percussion is, it's literally like the massage gun going up and down. I think that's one. I don't know. I didn't go to college. But anyways, definitely a strong massage gun. They sent me one. I'm using it. It's crazy. So I'm a morning routine guy where I get on the floor and I do some stuff, but before I kind of do all my mobility stuff, I'll lay on like a lax ball, so lacrosse ball, kind of get those knots out, foam roll, all kind of the same relative stuff. I started using massage guns for that purpose, and I feel a lot better, I would say. It's not only easier, I think it's more effective as well. So personally, like I said, I believe in the product. I want to talk about it on my show. That's why I wanted to have them as a sponsor as well. Great company, great product. Definitely go check that out. Like I said, everything about Massage Guns will be into the show notes. Instagram, Massage Guns, website, massageguns.com. And like I said, I can get you guys a discount if you're interested. Discount code Robby, R-O-B-B-Y, at checkout. And that's all I got. So thanks, Massage Guns, for being a sponsor of the show and bringing the world a really good home therapeutic product. All right, guys, let's get to the show. Hope you guys enjoy with Dr. Mike Yasson. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. What episode we on? 68. Episode 68 of the Robby Rowe Show. I have Dr. Mike Yasson on the show. Mike, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hey, Robby, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I mean, we did just talk for 20 minutes before the show, so we got a lot of catching up to do, man. So, like I said, man, thanks for coming on the show. Me personally, like I love having guys like you on the show because not only do you have a background in baseball, but obviously with your PT stuff and everything you're doing on your Instagram account, man, it's absolutely phenomenal. So I'm really excited to dive in today with you.
Definitely.
I don't really know. I know I just said we talked for 20 minutes, but I didn't really get into your background story. So I know that's like a super loaded question to dive in to start the show. But like, what is your background as far as like growing up, getting into baseball, having a passion for baseball, and then where your baseball career took your pretty much like life career after that?
That's exactly right. So I've been around baseball my whole life. I grew up playing it. I was a pitcher, played in high school, played in college at the University of Scranton. And from there, I was able to get affiliated with the Yankees organization, and I worked as a strength and conditioning coach with their AAA affiliate in Scranton. Formerly, then they were the Yankees. Now they're the Rail Riders. And so I spent the 2010 season there, and then in 2011 they hired me back as the head coach for their as the head strength coach for their single A team in Staten Island. And then so from there I went to work in the private sector for a year, and then I was back in Scranton again, where I worked as the strength coach for the whole athletic department, including the baseball team, while I was in PT school. And then my last rotation in PT school, I got to go back into the professional baseball world and spend spring training with the San Francisco Giants, which was another awesome experience.
Very cool. What year was that?
That was 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was the year after they just won in 2014.
Unfortunately, not a year that they won the World Series.
No. And then I got, I get all the crap from everyone. Oh, it's
your fault.
Yeah. It's always the intern who was there for 2.5 months. It's his fault.
Yeah.
And then I moved down here to Washington, D.C. I'm originally from Long Island, and I moved down here to Washington, D.C., where I've been the last 3.5 years now, I think. Shit. And yeah, I know, it's crazy. And then I started my practice, Big League Performance and Rehab, right here in Southwest DC, about a block from Nationals Park.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so I've been working on bridging the gap between rehab and performance. I think that's the big thing that I try and focus on in my practice, and it's something that's been in the works for years. It started with my own personal shoulder issues that I had when I was a player. I originally tore my labrum in my shoulder my sophomore year of high school.
Ugh.
Yep. And I rehabbed it. All through high school, I ended up missing my sophomore year of high school, and because of the shoulder injury. And it was during tryouts, I tried to snap off a really good curveball, trying to impress the coach, right? And just heard it was a damn good curveball too. 12-6.
You finished it? You finished the pitch?
It was a good one too. You just hear you hear the pop, and I'm like, shit. And I'm allowed to curse, right?
Yeah, you're fine.
Cool.
You're fine.
Just making sure.
No one's going to listen to this now.
No, and I ended up not being able to play. I ended up getting cut from my high school team my sophomore year, and I had to go to rehab. And it was during that time that I realized that probably wasn't going to be a professional baseball player.
Yeah.
And I needed to find something else to do with my life. So I was going to PT, and I liked how my PT worked with athletes and helping people get back to doing the things that they love to do, whether that's baseball, whether that's running, whether that's playing with their kids, whatever it might be. I really liked that. And that was when I was like, I can do this. I can get into physical therapy. And through that, I pretty much the plan was I was going to be a PT from then on, pretty much from my sophomore year of high school. And then after my junior year, the first year I was in the Yankees organization, this is where the whole idea of big league performance and rehab started to kind of come about.
Was this your first year in the Yankees organization?
It was my first year in the Yankees organization,
okay.
And especially especially when you're in AAA and you're, knocking on the door to heaven.
Right.
You got guys that are, going back and forth between the big leagues and AAA all the time. You got rehab assignments coming in and out.
Right.
And, they always talked about the big league guys. They're he's big league. He gets the big league treatment. Oh, he's big leaguer now. He doesn't, he doesn't have to carry the ball bucket anymore. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I want to bring the big league treatment to everybody else. That extra massage that the starting pitcher gets before a rehab start, or the extra attention that someone might get in the weight room before a game. I was like, I want to take that and I want to bring it to everybody else. I want everyone else to get that personalized one-on-one approach that I don't think we necessarily see in rehab, or really in personal training or sports performance training.
Totally.
In just the health and fitness, medical world in general. And it was during this time that it was between my junior and senior year. Oh, after my sophomore year, I ended up having surgery on my labrum. And I ended up spending my sophomore year of college rehabbing. And it was during that time I was going to PT, and I was doing I was working with another physical therapist at this point, and I was doing the same 4 exercises, just, basic, rotator cuff, arm care exercises. And I then started this internship with the Yankees, and we're doing all this strength, work and getting guys to move heavy weight and throw med balls and stuff. And I'm like, can I do this? I had no idea. I was 9 months out of surgery, and I had no idea if I could even do a push-up. And I was like, there's something missing here.
Yeah, there's a disconnect. Yeah,
there's a disconnect between where where we are in the rehab world and where we are in the performance world.
Totally.
And that's performance world, not just with professional athletes in that setting, or collegiate athletes like me, but also just with people who want to run a marathon, or people who want to do CrossFit. There's a disconnect between doing the yellow TheraBand exercises and straight leg raises and throwing a baseball 90 miles an hour or running 26.2 miles. Right. It's there's that gap that ultimately leads to a lot of frustration for people who this active population, that people want to do things and things that make them happy, things that keep them healthy and mentally and physically. And that was when I realized hey, there's this gray area that I need to attack. And I've been really lucky to come across on Instagram really this a contingent of PTs who are very similar minded, and it's been great to really attack that and help people do the things they love to do. It's been cool. I guess that's my story.
And it's totally true though. That's what we talk about as players as well, is and not so much now. I think they're doing a lot better job now. It's I'm going to speak on the behalf of pro ball, because that's what I know. But as far as the disconnect you talked about, it was almost like in the training room you were in this brake pedal approach, don't get hurt, don't get hurt, don't get hurt.
Yeah.
And then you walk over to next door, and it's you're in the weight room, and it's hey, we're throwing these med balls a billion miles an hour, and we're freaking grunting and putting chalk on our hands, and we're going 120%, and then we're going out into the field, and we're obviously at max capacity. We're max power output. And so would you say that's how safe to say that's how a lot of kind of injuries in the baseball world occur?
I think there is a it's very hold on a second. It's definitely a very gentle approach, very hands-on. Let's be careful. Let's not do too much. Let's be, let's hold back. And I think that is, it's a less is more attitude, which I don't think is necessarily the right attitude. I think human beings are much more resilient and stronger than we give ourselves credit for. And again, it comes back to that personalized thought where some people can do more, some people need less. It all depends,
totally.
The 21-year-old, that just got drafted versus the 35-year-old guy who's been in the league for a couple of years. They're not going to necessarily have the same regimen. But I think organizations, especially in the minor leagues, you tend to group guys together, and everyone tends to get the same treatment. And
cookie cutter.
I think exactly this cookie cutter approach. And I think the more, individualized we can get with guys, the better results we can see.
Yeah, and I think coming from a player too is like I think that's on us, and I think as we progress and I think obviously it's no accident and no secret that the physical demandments are super high now in the game of baseball because everyone's hitting the ball 500 feet and everyone's throwing 120 miles an hour, and I think it's I personally think it's on us too, even if you are 18 and I was 18 in pro ball. Trust me, I didn't know anything. But it's a point in understanding our body as well, right? I think we often get into this predicament where, we grow up with trainers or we grow up with people we work with, and they're designing our programs and they know your body, and then you step into like the real world and you have no idea like what you're capable of, what your capacities are, like, what you do really well with, what you don't. Yeah. And that's kind of the disconnect I see with coming from like the player side is, especially like in pro ball too, where you're getting your programs written out for you and you're just doing whatever's on paper. And,
exactly.
And then you're not really being mindful of, hey, I feel really good if I do X, Y, and Z post start, and then I can come back 5 days later and feel even better. I think that's another bridge that kind of needs to be talked about a little bit more coming from the player side. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think there's a trust factor that plays into that also. I think, guys are coming in whether they're 18 years old, whether they're 21 years old, and, they're probably, coming up one of the best years of their life. They dominated at whatever level they were at. And then I'm, this 22, I was, 22 at the time, and I'm like, all right, this is what our workout's going to be for the day. And like, they're like, who the hell are you? Like, who is this skinny 22-year-old kid?
Dude, I didn't realize you're so young.
Yeah.
Are we the same age? What year did you graduate high school?
I'm 29, 07.
Okay. All right. I was 10. I was 2010. I didn't realize you're so young. You got in the game young, man. Good for you.
Yeah. I mean, I was, it was an internship after my junior year, and then after my senior year, I graduated PT school on a Sunday, and on Tuesday I was flying down to extend spring training with the Yankees.
That is so cool.
Yeah, I got into it, and it was a struggle because it was I was with guys who were around my age, older than me. And I don't know if I had a problem. I think I had a problem, being the authoritative figure that I think we, associate with.
It's got to be awkward too for you.
Yeah, it was something that I really am lucky. That year that I was working in Staten Island, and I ended up working in the private sector also before I went back to PT school. I learned how to talk to people. That was the biggest thing I got from my pro ball experience, to be honest, is learning how to talk to people. And, like I said before, is these guys are coming from Arizona State, Florida State, Texas, some high school American, whatever. And they're like, who the hell are you? Who is this kid from Scranton telling me, how to work out or how to do this, how to take care of my body? And it's about building these relationships with guys and showing them that ultimately you're there for them, and, you're not there for yourself. Because it's easy, to get right into the game, especially as a 22-year-old, be like, oh man, I'm a strength coach in such and such organization, and I'm going to go to the big leagues just like these guys are. And but showing them that, like, hey, like, I'm not here for that. I'm here for you guys, and developing that trust. And that's something that I think has stuck with me. When I went back to PT school and I was working as a strength coach with all the different sports teams at Scranton, establishing that rapport with individuals versus just kind of like being the guy.
Dude, it's creating relationships, man. Like, honestly, like that is such a passionate topic for me, because I think we often get into this mold of like, we have to be like you said, like we have to be the authority, like, oh, puff out my chest, listen to me. Right. Whereas like as players, especially, man, we're going to respect someone in authority more when it's a relationship. It's like, hey man, like, and call me by my first name. Like, how you doing today? Like, how can I serve you? Like, how can I assist in what you need? Like, what are your needs? And then just creating that, in my opinion, man, that's like, honestly, I would say that's the way to go about really anything in life in general, especially in this field.
and that's how, I feel about healthcare, and in this country, the average doctor's visit is about 13 minutes long. So, that's including those visits that are like, 4 minutes where you're in and out and you're, don't even have a chance to talk to them about whatever's going on. So, taking the time to talk with people and let them tell them your story or their story, whatever it might be, whether it's, like I said before, like they're trying to get back to playing, or whether they're trying to run or CrossFit or whatever it might be. And maybe they've had 2 surgeries. Maybe they've been to 3 different doctors and had 15 MRIs or whatever. And that's powerful. Words are really powerful. And just sitting there and listening to someone and letting them tell you their story is something that I think, we need to do more of, not just in the in the professional setting. Like, even though I saw the benefits of that, but everyone, just taking some time to listen to people, I think, can make a real change in this fitness world. I think, with everything going on with the opioid epidemic, all things like that. I mean, just instead of just being like, oh, just write them a script, let's listen, let them tell you what's worked, what hasn't worked, and figure out an actual game plan that's going to be best for them, not what's most convenient for you, but what's best for them. And I think that was going back to is what I was able to get the most out of from my experience in pro ball.
Yeah, totally. No, I think you hit it on the head, man. I mean, that's really in everything in life, is like caring, like actually like sitting down and being like, yo, like what is, and that's the coolest thing for me, dude, is like, I started this podcast to kind of just like get some good information out there. I got kicked out of class a lot when I was growing up, so this was like my outlet to just talk and talk and talk, and it's like the perfect setting for me. So, and then it evolved into just that, man. Like, I've created so many good like relationships with people that, and obviously like Instagram and social media help, but just sitting here and like even just talking to you for the 30 minutes that we've chatted is like, this is great, right? Like, I mean, like, I'm getting to know you, but and I think that's like, we can take something from that is just sitting down and being like, hey man, like, what's your story? How can I, and I think there's that's a connection that needs to be had too in like pro ball is, I know it's, and I'm not saying it's easy. It is super tough because there are so many players, and we're not sitting here trying to say like, the front office is wrong if they don't do this, but
no.
But there's so many guys, but I think it's sitting down with guys, and like learning about them because, we see what happens on the field, and then that's kind of it. That's like the end of the story. And
exactly, maybe just saying, how's your girlfriend, or how was your weekend, or whatever it might be. Like, just to like let them know that you're there, and that that they're a person versus just another guy in the organization.
Yeah, because then the comfort factor for the player increases, because I mean, you know how it is as a player, dude. Like, you're sitting around, especially in pro ball, you're trying to impress everybody, and exactly like when the big dogs are watching you, and for you to have like someone come over and just be like, hey, doing good. Hey, great pitch. Hey, great hustle. Dude, that changes somebody's perception on their entire game or their entire day. And I think that's a way that people in high like positions or high authority can really cause change. And especially if they're in an organization or running an organization that they want to win, like, why wouldn't we put an effort into that? That's kind of just my 2 cents. All right, let's switch topics a little bit, man. I want to talk about movement capacity. I think I saw like somewhere on your Instagram you have let me pull it up. Movement Optimist. Is that? Can we talk about that? What do you got on that?
So, Movement Optimist is. I definitely didn't come up with that.
Dang it!
But I can't give myself credit for it. I'm not quite sure where it originated from, but I definitely saw it somewhere, or I heard it on a podcast somewhere, and it just like stuck with me. I was like, that's what I am. It was just. I think today, as we said it earlier, it's like don't do this, don't do that, don't get injured. I want to tell people to move. I want to give people permission to exercise, people to move and do the things that they love to do. So, when someone comes in with, lower back pain, and I'll tell them like, hey, go out move, do things that are, that feel good, things that might have a low pain tolerance. I want people to move, because I think ultimately my main motto is movement is medicine. I think, the more, not necessarily the more we move, but the sooner we can get people off the table and moving again, the quicker we can get them back to doing the things they love to do. So I'll never tell someone, don't move, don't exercise. I will find a way for them to exercise. So, if someone is, if someone's a CrossFitter and they want to, continue working out, I'll tell them, well, maybe let's avoid, snatches or pull-ups for the day. And let's try to do, let's try and keep things, under your shoulder for today. And then we'll move from there. Or, if someone wants to get back to deadlifting, I'll say, how about we do Romanian deadlifts, or something that is, a little less stressful on the body. I want to get, that's ultimately the biggest thing, is I want to get people to move as quickly as possible. So I think in medicine today, you go, a lot of times people who have knee pain or back pain or whatever, they go to their orthopedists and they say, oh, well, your knees hurt, you got, arthritis, you can't run anymore.
Don't do anything.
You can't squat anymore.
Yeah.
Well, but I like to run, but I like to squat. What do I do? And, the research out there has shown that, activities like running, like squatting, are actually good for the knees, or good for the hips, or whatever, part of the body. And, as long as they're done in a, proper manner where, we're not like squatting an immense amount of weight or doing, like 500 reps or whatever it might be, it's in a good environment. There's no problem with people doing these activities. So I want to encourage people to move. And another big thing is that it empowers them to take control of their situation. So if I give someone, so someone comes in with shoulder pain and I give them 5 exercises to do, and I say, hey, this is my prescription to you. So instead of you going and popping 3 Advil or a Percocet or, or whatever, do these 5 exercises and you're going to feel better. It allows them to take control of their situation versus creating this dependency model that you need me to fix you. I don't want to be a fixer. If I'm a fixer, I'm doing my job wrong. I want to be an educator. I want to be a guide. I want to, teach people, how to take care of their own bodies. And when you create this dependency model, it becomes this thing where your shoulder injury, your back pain, whatever it might be, is out of your reach, and only I can fix it. Only the PT or the chiropractor or the physician or whoever can fix it. And as a result, you get stuck in this cycle of, injections and pills and dry needling and cupping. And look, everything has its place, don't get me wrong, but we should be creating a model where we're empowering our patients and our clients versus forcing them to rely on us.
And it goes back to like kind of what we were talking about earlier, right? Is like better equipping the athlete, or for the analogy of the professional baseball players, like better equipping the athlete to progress when he's on his own, or if he needs to do things on his own.
Exactly. So like it's the would you rather be able to just do 5 exercises on your own if say your shoulder starts bothering you, or would you rather be like, oh, I have to go in, I have to go get dry needled, and I have to go get cupped, and I have to go get an injection? Because at the end of the day, like I love all my patients. I don't necessarily want to see them forever. I want them to ultimately, go off on their own and, not have to worry about, coming back to see me, and they say, oh, Mike gave me these 5 exercises for my back. I'll just do these and I'm good to go.
And then it's in that process, the individual now learns more about him or herself.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of what in my opinion, like that's what we're targeting, right? Is like better understand yourself in a sense of like how, okay, we have these, this is what I respond really well to. This is what my body doesn't respond well to. Like, this is what I do this when I blah, blah, blah. And I think it's just a constant learning curve. And I know it doesn't happen overnight, right? Like, I mean, I was
Right.
I think what am I? Like 10 years, I think 10 years professionally, maybe 9 years professionally. And it's like, I just started getting to a point in my career last year where I was like, okay, I know X, Y, and Z. Every post start, every post bullpen, every day before start, these are what I was going to do, because
Absolutely.
I knew that once 7 o'clock hit on my start day, that's when I was going to feel most optimal by doing
Yep.
all of these things.
Absolutely. It just comes down to getting to know your body, and it's a process. I think the average, like plan of care with my patients is probably 8 or 9 visits. And then, then we, progress to more of a maintenance program where I might see them on a monthly or every other month kind of cycle. And this way, they're able to keep in touch and stay up on things they need to do. But ultimately, they're able to, take care of themselves at that point.
Yeah, 100%. That's the goal. What would you say? Like, I want to talk about the physical. Like, I kind of touched on the physical demandments of the game of baseball, right? For today, I think people growing up, kids in high school, even younger than high school, maybe, that are aspiring, college professional baseball players. They're watching the TV and they're seeing these monsters now. Where it was before, it was like baseball was kind of the sport where, you didn't need to look as super athletic as maybe you did on the basketball court. But now they're turning on the TV, they're seeing these monsters, and you got your judges
Absolutely.
who are hitting balls 500 feet. You got your Syndergaards who literally looks like a Greek god pitching. And so now they go, okay, well, like I'm a freshman in high school, but I guess it's time to hit the weights hard, and I think there's another disconnect there, because as far as the movement capabilities, I think we're getting into a pattern where we're so focused on gaining strength and muscle, and obviously acquiring more physical brute strength, and we're kind of bypassing the movement capability before that. How would you kind of encourage somebody to go about that the appropriate way in your line of work?
I think the biggest thing, especially for a young guy, someone who's 14, 13 years old, and it is seeing those judges and the Syndergaards of the world. I think the best thing for them to do at that point is just to start working on like you said, moving well. So being able to do a squat, being able to do a hip hinge, being able to develop some core strength. I think that's the place where you want to start. We don't need to get, and you can see all these different fancy exercises on Instagram and YouTube.
Oof.
And
that's a whole other subject.
I think my progression as I've, grown as a clinician is, I was very much into I was very much a biomechanist and, the movement police. And then I kind of moved into corrective exercises. We need to do 15, glute activation drills and whatnot. And now I've gotten to this point where I'm just people need to get stronger. And the best way for people ultimately to get stronger is to pick things up and put them down. And it's working on fundamental movement patterns. That's the place to start. And it's not, what, is the only thing, but it's a good place to start, is being able to master basic movement progressions. So if you're able to hip hinge well, if you're able to squat well, if you're able to do, a plank, if you're able to do a lunge, these things, they should serve as the cornerstone of your, fitness journey, whether that's, in professional baseball or just in whatever sport.
Yeah. But Dr. Mike, it's so boring to sit there and do correctives. That's my 18-year-old, not even 18. I would say my 21-year-old self, when I turned into a semi meathead. I just wanted to go in and crush pre-workout. And
well, I think for me, as a baseball player and then moving into the strength side of things, I don't think that we're doing enough in terms of strength training, especially at a 18 to 22, 25 range. I think people are afraid to really get in there and actually get after it to an extent. I think people tend to be, a little scared. And
are you saying within the baseball community?
I think within the baseball community, yeah. I think people
I would agree.
definitely are, they tend to approach strength conditioning with kitty gloves, and they're not really, they don't want to actually do anything. It's just
I'm sorry for interrupting, man, but this is a huge subject too, is because the idea for that space is, hey, we want to keep you on the field. Like, we don't want to exert you too much in the weight room because you should be exerting yourself to a max capacity on the field. But that's another disconnect that I see is, I mean, you can probably, take it over now, right? But like, for me, I see just a huge disconnect in why are we training in season with this brake pedal approach and, increasing our load capacities on the field, but then in the weight room, we hammer it way down. And then we try to just do this kind of thing over and over again where we're not exerting ourselves so much in the weight room. And then on the field, we're not in as good a shape or as, well equipped to handle the loads that we take on in the field.
Exactly. We dumb things down in season, and with the fear of, the weight room is going to injure players, or we're going to get too bulky, or whatever it might be. And realistically, that's not the truth. And the weight room is where we create resiliency, and we're able to create better athletes there, and that has that carryover effect to the field where guys are going to be able to not only throw harder but throw more and or just do anything longer and more efficiently, and ultimately that's what that's the goal of the strength training is keeping guys healthy and keeping guys out on the field. So if that's what we're doing in the gym, that should be, I think, embraced more in the baseball community.
Totally. So I threw up something on Instagram before we hopped on the mic, and it was if anyone wanted to ask you like any specific questions, regarding PT or whatever it is, because I'm tired. I'm not tired of it. It's interesting, but like I get a lot of like questions that probably aren't for me. So I think to ask you a question is from Instagram is someone wants to know, how should we mold our arm care program? Like I don't know. He worded the question way differently. I'm trying to kind of fix it, but yeah. So like, what is your ideal like arm care program look like for a pitcher?
A good arm care program is good training at its basis. Is that it doesn't necessarily need to be just focused on rotator cuff strength, building up our rotator cuff or our scap muscles. It should work on creating a solid foundation, in our lower half, in our core. And that's what a really good arm care program should look like. I mean, you look at, I know you're working with Josh Heenan right now, and he has this 90-mile-an-hour formula. There's no, full cans or TheraBands, really in his 90-mile-an-hour formula.
Right.
And so I think those exercises have a place, but the basis should be, again, getting strong, being strong, creating strong athletes, physiotherapist, not a physical therapist, on Instagram. His name is Adam Meekins, and he has a saying, you can't go wrong getting strong. And
that's got to be a t-shirt.
I'm sure there is. And that is, the basis for my idea. My thoughts on a good arm care program is if the athletes take care of their whole body, they're going to ultimately, the shoulder will kind of follow.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of, how it is. Like, we live in this instant gratification society, right? Where I think a lot of athletes, will be like, hey, give me the blank program to throw 100, or like,
right,
give me this X equals M squared formula to, hit home runs or whatever it is. And I think,
exactly.
And I think what you said is so important too, because it's like, it's the big picture of strength. Like, it's not just, hey, like, we're going to go in and squat for 3 hours. Like, no, like, let's develop just really good movement capacity, and then develop really good strength on top of that, and freaking bulletproof yourself.
That's ultimately what it is creating that resiliency, so that, you're able to go out there and, in the seventh inning, you're still throwing just as hard as you were in the first inning.
Yeah. And who doesn't want to do that? I mean, shoot.
Who doesn't want to do that? Exactly.
I saw an Instagram post you had about, bulletproofing your shoulders or something like that. You want to talk a little bit about that? I think that would be a big hit for those of you who are listening.
Yeah, it goes back to the same idea of creating that resiliency and creating that resistance to fatigue. Is we don't want to take it easy on our shoulders just because we're in the middle of a season. We still want to within reason, of course, is we still want to get after it with our arms and keep our shoulders strong and ultimately prevent that fatigue, that resistance to fatigue, and get ourselves moving in that right direction.
Are you an overhead press guy for baseball players?
I was for the longest time, because this is just what you're taught, whether it was an undergrad as an exercise science major or my time in pro ball or whatever. It was we don't need to do overhead press because we get enough of that with throwing. We don't need to do that. Mm-hmm. But we need this goes back to being a movement optimist again. I don't think this is tied into FRC and Andrea Spina.
Love that. Love that.
I know you are. There's no such thing as a bad exercise. It's just unprepared movements.
Yes.
So if we're living in that overhead position, upper three quarters, arm slot, whatever it might be, even whatever sidearm, we got to prepare the body for that movement. So maybe we're not military pressing 300 pounds, but
what? Why wouldn't we?
It would be irresponsible not to do some sort of overhead movement training in your program, I think.
Oh, totally. And it's funny, man, because growing up through the ranks of pro ball, I was always told the same thing, man. And you kind of sit back and then you really not dumb it down, but you just look at like the simplicity of how should we go about training? And it's like, why would we not put ourselves in positions that we are in when we are on the field and own those
Absolutely.
positions like in a weight room? So that's like the biggest thing that I've kind of taken away from like what Josh is teaching me is, with his like reverse lunge type stuff. It's like, yo, if you're trying to make a living in this position with your right leg back, left leg forward, and you can't own that position, like, why do you think compensation happens? Right. So
you got to be damn good at that position. Exactly.
Yeah. And it just makes sense. Like, let's manipulate those type things and even overhead. I mean, like you said, we're not
exactly.
trying to freaking, press the roof over, but
no.
a little,
but you got to be comfortable in that position, whether it's with a landmine press, whether it's like a closed chain, like a, down dog, push up or, something like that. You got to own that position, to some extent. Otherwise you're just leaving yourself open, in my opinion.
And you're a pull-ups guy too, right?
Yes. Yeah. I love pull-ups. I think pull-ups are just such another, basic fundamental exercise that doesn't require a whole lot of stuff, equipment,
right?
And so I think pull-ups are great. Again, overhead, and you're developing that eccentric lat strength, which as you're coming to find out.
Oh, jeez, yeah, apparently. Yeah, because that was another. I feel like that's another disconnect too, man. Is pull-ups for pitchers, like why? It was when I was coming up, it was like there was no need for it, and so it kind of put me behind the eight ball too, because I was never a pull-up guy, and then talk about the lat thing,
and of course it's someone that has the capability to do pull-ups, right? Yeah. So like finding that entry point to loading, whether they're if they're a 14-year-old who's 145 pounds like I was, and can't pull their body weight up,
Eesh,
like,
dude.
Find an entry point, whether that's like a kneeling row or a assisted pull up or whatever it might be. Find the entry point. We want to make sure that we're not just throwing people into the fire and saying, oh, go ahead, do pull ups. It's finding the right position for entry point. Because if you look at my post about pull ups, is like it's usually something along the get your first pull-up or do more pull-ups. And they're all assisted exercises that aren't just like, just pull up, just hang from the bar and try and get your chin over it. It's, well, if you can't do a pull-up, try these variations to get there.
Yeah, no, shoot, man, that's like, it's another thing I love about your freaking Instagram account, man, is I can go on there, dude, and be like, oh, well, I'm an expert now. I'm a doctor of PT now, just by looking at Dr. Mike's Instagram page. Like, I know everything. So, so you're in the FRC space, or are you just a fan?
I'm just a fan for right now.
You gonna dabble? You should just get in there, man.
I have a whole bunch of friends that are obviously in love with it. And I love, seeing those different things on Instagram. It just, honestly, it's just come down to like availability for me.
Totally.
So if Andrea Spina is listening to this, tell him to bring a course down to Washington, D.C.
They do online courses too, I think, right?
Do they?
I don't know, dude. I've had like, I drank the Kool-Aid hard, dude. I'm like, I can't go like 3 hours without getting in a 90-90 and like doing a pail and rail.
It's definitely the whatever you want to call it, the continuing education course of the moment right now. I think it's definitely, they've done a great job of promoting their brand on Instagram, and I love the message. And I love the message that they're, sending in terms of, it aligns very similar with my, movement is medicine idea. So, yeah, I think I definitely would love to take a course. Just got to find a weekend that matches up with my schedule.
Yeah. Well, and I think with the FRC too, and you touched on this earlier, was like seeing something on Instagram and then just going to do it, in the weight room.
Right.
Which is like maybe what 90% of like the people that go to the gym do. But I think if your end goal is to be like the best possible baseball player that you can be, I think there's going to be a little bit more behind the idea of seeing something on Instagram to go and do it, because especially with FRC is like, I think it would be inappropriate and dangerous to just, see my routine on my Instagram and then go and try to do that. And then, you're not really doing yourself any favors. But it goes like what you're saying about strength training too, is everyone wants to be the guy on Instagram that gets the billion of views because you did a balancing physio ball, kettlebell, freaking row, clean, press thing. Right.
Exactly. And it's finding your why. Like, why are you doing that exercise? Why are you doing a 90-90? Why are you doing pails and rails? Why the hell are you doing overhead squat? Why are you doing whatever exercise? Like, there's got to be a reason for everything. So, that's what it comes down to again with like Instagram. It's like, all right, I'm showing this exercise to help you with your first pull-up, but like, is this what you need? Is this what is best for you at this moment? So, it's come down to finding the why.
I love that, dude. That's I'm writing that down for a t-shirt idea, and I'm not going to credit you. So
damn.
So speaking of damn, just got an update, totally off topic, but Mike Trout and the Angels agreed to a 12-year deal worth more than $430 million.
Holy shit,
dude! I had to say something on the show. Like,
wow,
that's worth it though, right? Best player in baseball, best player of the generation. Absolutely. That's incredible, man.
He's the guy. Jersey's finest, right there.
I was going to say that about you're from Long Island. Where's your accent? Did you lose it? Or is it just when you get mad?
I can bring it out when I need to. Okay, don't worry about it.
Oh, there it goes. There it goes a little bit.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I guess being here in DC, you get you have to talk all proper and.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I lose the accent. Yeah. But yeah, no. Trout is 12 years. I thought he was going to end up in Philly. I thought he was a Philly guy, but I guess he's committed to the Angels now.
Dude, the Angels can spend some cash, man. They need to make some move. They need to get in the playoffs. They need to do something where Trout is on the big stage. They just have to.
It's just he gets lost out there, and
no one knows about him too. It sucks.
Last year, what was it? It was Harper versus Trout on a Wednesday night on the West Coast. Nobody watched it.
Yeah, it's
like you had the two best players in baseball going head to head, and it was 10 o'clock on a Wednesday on like ESPN2. It was like, hello, like you want to get the younger audience to watch baseball and be interested in baseball, like how could you put your two superstars, 10 p.m. on ESPN2?
Yeah, and it's not going to be changing the rules of the game. It's going to be marketing it a little bit better. That's how we get more people interested. In my opinion, I'm biased.
No, absolutely. I think using Twitter, letting people post clips from games on Twitter and stuff like that, and not threatening to kick people off the internet if they post an Aaron Judge home run, or I'm sure you've. I'm
waiting for my email that says, "Hey, you got to stop."
Oh yeah, no, I see it all the time. Guys from like Barstool Sports always post stuff and then get it, taken down, get their account suspended, and
it's like, why, dude? Like, we're doing you a favor. We're showcasing the excitement of Major League Baseball and baseball in general.
Free publicity.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. I apologize if I said we would only keep it brief, but obviously we can both talk. But so real quick, man, where can my audience find you as far as links? I'll make sure to link all of this in the show notes as well, so they can kind of go down to that and just click a button.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Big League Perform and Rehab. My practice is here in Washington, D.C., Big League Performance and Rehab. Mm-hmm. And if they're interested in we're doing online training with me, I have the Big League Training program, which they can find on my Instagram profile. And then I guess I'll give you the link for that as well.
Yeah, I could probably go on your Instagram account too and link that. Did you just change your Instagram handle?
I did.
Yeah, I wrote down Doc Mike Yasson PT. So you just changed that?
Just about a week ago. Yeah, I started the Instagram account a year and a half ago. Not really sure where I was going. I knew I had this stuff out there that I wanted to put out there, and I wanted to network and meet like-minded people like yourself. And
thanks,
man. And I got really lucky that it ended up leading to, a dream job for me and being able to create my own practice, in 2018. And now 2019 is, it's focused more on growing the practice and making it more about the business and the brand of Big League Performance and Rehab versus just myself.
Right.
I'm hopefully going to be hiring some other clinicians this year. So, I want to focus more on that, and I know that I'll be able to help more people that way versus just relying solely on myself. If I can teach 3 PTs to do what I do, I'll be able to have triple the effect that I can have by myself.
Totally. Well, I think you hit it on the head too, is like, that's all things in life, is like, figure yourself out first, right?
Yep.
I mean, like, understand your why, and then, branch out and grow other people. I think that's huge. Do you have a Twitter or not?
I don't have a professional Twitter. It's not one that I actively tweet from. So,
gotcha. Okay, so I got your Instagram account here. Online training, like I said, I can link that. So it's just in your bio on your Instagram account?
Yeah, and then on Facebook also, Big League Performance and Rehab also.
Cool. All right, man. Well, I will make sure to link all of that in the show notes for those of you interested. And dude, absolute blast talking to you, man.
Hey,
I appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, it was fun. I'll sign you off the air, but enjoy the rest of your day, dude.
Awesome. Thanks. You too.
Yeah, brother. All right, guys, another episode of The Robby Rowe Show. I appreciate you guys for listening, tuning in, and if you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe. Check out episodes I'm trying to release Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I might be reverting back to a Tuesday or maybe like a Monday, Thursday type thing. I just really don't want to overwhelm you. But if you want to do me a favor, let me know by reaching out to me on like YouTube, Instagram, even Twitter. Just let me know what is the most efficient way to go about it. Do you guys want to hear Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Does that overwhelm you? Would you rather hear Monday, Thursday, Monday, Friday? Let me know, because it's all for you guys. So I want to know how the best way that I can suit your guys' needs. And if there's ever a guest or anyone that you want me to bring on the show, let me know as well. I'm always open to Instagram direct messages, like I said, YouTube comments, Twitter, all that stuff. If you have any questions regarding the services that I present, coaching plans for pitching video analysis, you can always email me, contactrobbyrowe@gmail.com. All right, guys. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of your guys' day. God bless. Talk to you later.